Chewy.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Today we're going to be reviewing the American Western from 2015, Bone Tomahawk. It's starring Kurt Russell and a lot of other actors that I don't remember seeing since early 2000s. But that's cool. It was a good cast. We'll get into the cast. It was not the movie that you want to watch with small children around. And if you don't understand, we'll get into it as we go along. Holy crap, Mark.
Yep.
It's always the quiet ones, man. It's always the quiet ones.
Well, Mark, to be fair on this for Mark, he wasn't sure what he was getting. You know, he's turned about it and says,
This
okay,
is my first time watching it too. It's been on my radar for a while, and I keep hearing different things that if you're like a RPG or gamer person, you should watch this one, and it kind of fits
Not a full stomach.
weird rest genre, so that's why I picked it.
I mean, I could run a one-shot RPG giving a Western theme that kind of go along with this, but damn.
this is for people that want that gritty realism for their games. That's the best phrase for this.
Yeah, this fits like a Lamentations of the Flame Princess type Western, I would say.
Yeah. Somebody needs to introduce this movie to Bruce.
Well, I'm sure he's got it on speed dial, so to speak.
Oh my goodness. So, it was Mark's choice this week, and he picked out this movie. As he just said, he's heard about it from his friends, and it fits Western. It
Get
very
new
much.
friends. Get new friends.
It's not. Yeah, go ahead.
It fits Western. I mean, it had cowboys, it had sheriffs, it had
Indians of a
it had
sort.
Indian, it had troglodytes. I mean, everything was. Oh my goodness!
It had doctors. You know. I will say this much though. Talking about it is they didn't flinch from. I saw that the budget was less than $2 million. I'm like, this actually was really well done for the amount of money that they had. But man, when some of the characters get shot with the arrows, you're like, what? One thing I did like, it wasn't like instant death every time someone was hit. It was, wound after wound where you didn't want to get hit, and you're like, ouch. That was
those arrowheads.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Using a bird skull and beak as your arrow tip. Holy moly.
Well, people forget on how effective stone arrows are. I mean, they take things down.
Those weren't stone, those were bone. That was a skull.
Yeah, those were pretty ugly.
Oh my goodness. So, all right. But as I was telling people before we got started, this movie kind of put a huge blank spot on what kind of questions I should ask. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. By no means am I saying it's a bad movie. It's actually one of those movies that you need to at least watch once, just not
on an empty stomach. Yeah, just watch it on an empty stomach. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I guess the first question would be, did you all like it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Mark, did you?
Yeah, I liked it very much. I thought it was good. It was. I mean, at times it was a slow. It started out kind of fast, and the good chunk of it was a real slow burn. But you kind of, I think they did that because of the budget was so low, and then that gave them a time to do character development. But all the dialogue and stuff was way, was appropriate of the time. I think the way they spoke and the vocabulary used and everything, I really admired that, how they worked that into the film.
That was one of my favorite things was the actual choice of words that everybody used.
Right.
At different points. It was really, I had no idea where it was going, and within the first 45 minutes, I'm like, I'm really liking and enjoying the precision of the dialogue. It was You know, you don't see a lot of that in every western. You know, sometimes it's real simple, but in this case, it was really well scripted.
What about you, Omanal?
I liked it, though I will admit the gore was a bit much for me. It's like you said, like Cher was saying, it's a slow burn. It's one of those that you aren't quite sure what's going on. You're like, okay, but I one thing I did like is it's a gritty feel. It was, when we talk about Wyatt Earp and how they did some things, they didn't. There was no flinching whatsoever. I thought that even when they did the troglodytes with the firearm was well done. He kept over.
Yeah.
With the lever action.
Yeah.
He wasn't quite sure in how it worked, and that was one. I like the fact that, I thought it was actually very well done. But it's a graphic film. It's definitely one of those that if you like Scream, then you probably will enjoy this one. But it's a bit more than Scream.
I don't know Scream. I would say if you like the movie Hills Have Eyes, or
I was thinking Reservoir Dogs, but yeah, okay.
Wrong Turn, more Back of the Woods, Hillbilly,
Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah. It definitely has the Hills Have Eyes vibe with except about 100 years before,
or
with the Indians. Yeah,
a little bit of Descent in there.
Yep. It deserves its R rating. It is not a soft R.
No.
So next question is: did y'all have a favorite character? Here's a question: did your favorite character survive the movie? All right, I'll start with Mark.
I like the assistant. He wasn't even a full deputy, wasn't he? Just like they called him like the assistant deputy or something like. Backup deputy. Yeah, I liked his arc and his story, and yeah, he pulled through at the end. I thought it was cool.
Shadow.
I want to say my favorite character was John. I know he did not survive, just because he was so, except for the racism, he was such an enviable, successful, skilled individual. But you throw the racism in there, and I get it. If my mom and sisters were butchered, etc., I'd ended up the same way. But he was eloquent. He was skilled. He was almost always right. And it's a shame he didn't get to use the dynamite. I was actually kind of bummed that he didn't get to do anything else. He was gonna make a valiant last stand, and I guess he just succumbed to his injuries, which it's a shame. But he was a cool character. Otherwise, Kurt Russell all the way. But again, there were so many good characters. Even what's his name? The guy with the broken leg. Look what he did with a freaking broken leg. Dang.
When we're talking all these characters, we're only talking really about 5 that actually had anything in there. It's a very tight film. I want to say that it's a slow burn and a tight film.
All right, now.
Yeah. I liked all 3. I liked the 3 characters. I actually liked the doctor's daughter, who was in there. It's like, oh, he's drunk again. I thought that she did a good job. The foreman with the broken leg, where he's going after his wife, I thought that was well done. And then I did like the old man. The other 2, to me, and I want to put this in there. Sometimes you feel cheated with the death, and I didn't feel that they were cheated with their deaths. I think that they died competently. It wasn't stupid. It didn't feel like it was. I'm trying to think of the proper phrase.
Film.
Well, no, I don't mean that. What I mean is that sometimes your favorite character seems to die. Like, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. It seems to be out of character. No. Yeah. The perfect example from Robotech, Roy Fokker. You know, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Where you go, we've all seen it. Oh, well, so and so dies where it's pronounced like no. It's kind of the, you know, the most competent, which I guess was John. I can't remember the names all the time, but because it's been about 3 weeks since I watched it.
Oh, okay.
But you're right. The one that was he hated the Indians. He still went out there. He did that. His decision making. You're like, my God, I can't believe he did.
And to go based on the fact that he felt responsible, even though he clearly wasn't responsible. You know, he did what anybody else would have done, but he had such a sense of honor that he could have just walked. You know,
Yeah.
but no, it was like, no, I'm responsible, so I'm going, and
Well, I mean, even the old deputy. What? It's like, you're an old man. Why are you going? It's that kind of thing. I thought it was interesting with the just a little bit part, the one that they call the professor, the Indian in there. He's like, you don't go up there, you don't come back. And the old deputy, when they get shot in the arm and stuff, you're like, okay, that is more realistic. It isn't like, oh, it's always dead center of mass. It's kind of like, oh man, I like that. I thought it was just well done for it. I thought it was well paced. I like the fact that I'm not sure if I want to call him the main character, but the husband, what was it? Arthur. He kept going, and you're like, look, you can't do this. They're going to break the leg. And I like it how they left him behind. It's like you're a detriment, and they left him behind. They took care of him and said, well, good luck, but we can't take care of you anymore. We were going to go forward, which says something even more because everyone else had no invested interest technically for going and getting her. It was like, I mean, when you look at it, they all went. They knew it was dangerous in there, and yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting in that aspect of yeah, okay, fine, but they didn't stay for him. They said, look, you're staying behind because you're not gonna you're not a, how do I want to put this? You're actually a detriment, which I proves not to entirely be true, but he was a detriment to the group to actually getting to her in time. And they left him behind, and then of course when he's hobbling back. So yeah, I mean, all the characters I liked. To be fair, I kind of liked all the 5 main characters. So 3 out of 5, I'll take that.
Yeah, no, I get that. I am kind of torn between favorite characters. I love the old deputy. The old deputy was just, in my opinion, awesome. I mean, he's past his prime. He should be at home doing something, but since his wife died, he just needs something to keep his fucking mind busy, something to keep going. That's how I read him.
And he wasn't even a badass. That's the other thing. Like sometimes they make them look super. He wasn't. It's just kind of like,
and
he's kind of sweet, naive, charming. He was
a field sergeant, a field surgeon. He was a field surgeon, which during Civil War. I mean, when I first meet the guy, I'm like, okay, he's kind of the Barney Pfeiffer type, deputy. Yep. And as the story keeps going, it's like, oh wait, no, this guy is legitly, a thing.
Wasn't he a field medic though? He wasn't
field medic. He had operating tools to take off that guy's leg.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did. Well, some of that was, if you look at the surgeon, which was the lady's father, right. He was always drunk. But the deputy was I kind of got that he was a field medic, where it's kind of like the modern military medics, like the corpsmen that they have. You're not a full surgeon, but we'll have you do everything when we need you. Kind of thing. Yeah, it's kind of like, well, you go through 3 years of training instead of 8.
Either way, he was not Barney Pfeiffer in that story. He was loyal. I'm not saying Barney Pfeiffer wasn't loyal. I'm just saying he was more just than a tag along. He was actually did his job. I didn't actually care for the guy in white.
Yeah.
I get why he was who he was, and 126 Indians, because a couple of them killed his mom and his daughter. There's aspects of it I get.
Well, what gets me about it is he did it, but he wasn't. How do I want to put this? It's kind of that he kind of felt guilty about it, and that he kind of didn't because he didn't want to say on how many he killed, and he kind of just, I mean,
He didn't boast about it.
No, he killed women and children too. By the looks of it, it's kind of a, but yeah, I thought that. But he was definitely the most competent, and actually the sheriff was very competent about shooting people in the leg. I mean, come on.
No. I mean, but the things like the tripwire scene, and he was a professional.
Yes.
Whereas the sheriff was,
The sheriff.
he wasn't a killer. He was a lawman. Whereas John was, a killer.
Yeah.
Was there any parts of this movie you guys actually liked? Like, wow, I wouldn't mind watching this movie again just for the scene. I have a few scenes I don't ever want to see.
Yes, but I am not going to admit to it. Yes, but I am not going to admit to it this time.
What, him splitting the
Oh, you're talking about her? Yes. No, at the beginning. No, actually, it sounds funny. Is you have the action scenes, which I think were well done, for what they were. But they are definitely visceral. The best way that I want to put it is, if you kind of enjoyed the beginning scene of Saving Private Ryan, I would put a lot of stuff like that. It's visceral, right in your face. So in retrospect, I think it's fun. I'm not sure how much I want to sit there through it again. But,
oh my god!
But when they, definitely when they fight the troglodytes, and I don't mean in the cave. I mean when they're fighting them outside the cave where John dies and a few others. It's definitely. I liked it. I liked it when Arthur's coming over with his bad leg and hears them and he shoots some of them. I definitely felt it was. There was that. Actually, to be fair, it's a slow burn. It's one of those that if someone says, "Hey, we're going to watch it," like, okay, it's going to be kind of intense. I think it'll be hard to watch it again for a while, but it's not one you forget about. I think that's
no. I don't think so. What about you, Mark? Was there any scene or anything in this, any scene that would make you want to watch it again?
I would, yeah. I like the whole setup in the middle and when you got all the character development and all their dialogue. And we talked about it already a little bit before, all the word choices and manner of speaking that was just seemed to be of the time, and that was well thought and probably researched to put that in the script the way they did. So I appreciated all of that.
I'm going to do this part is when they find the I want to call them the rustlers when they come in. That beginning part where, well, it's more than just a scene, but that middle, I agree with Mark, where you're not getting necessarily the heavy fighting, that's the real gore, but generally when you meet the rustlers at the beginning and then later on when they steal the horses, I thought that was that whole buildup of while they're going to the lands, I thought was actually pretty well done. And I actually did like the beginning part where what was it, Buddy? It's like, oh, well, my name's, why don't you say this? And he's like, oh, and right before the troglodytes grab him, those
characters were scumbags. I'm glad they got what they got.
Yeah, well, they completely deserved it. Don't get me wrong, but that was kind of but they set that thing up. But I did like the doctor's daughter. Oh, he's drunk again. When she's all getting ready for that, and he's sitting there, and she's but the character development. I think it's a well written film. The action scenes are like Saving Private Ryan beginning set part. It's for anyone that's aware of that is definitely don't say, oh, we're gonna watch this fun. We've been all the other movies we've watched have been pretty much relatively fun to watch. This was definitely a drama.
Yeah, I'm glad Jackie did not watch most of this movie. He watched part of the end. Well, the end, from a little bit before the splitting scene.
Yes.
Um, that was just wow.
There was a couple times. Okay, when I watch this movie again, I'd probably watch this movie again. It's gonna be a little bit between now and then before I watch it again. But as you guys said, I liked them. I liked the traveling scene where they're not walking, riding their horses, and you kind of get a feel for the characters. That scene, the old man giving John shit about hanging up the bells, and him saying, "Whatever cross that without introducing, shoot, don't question, shoot." Then you hear it for the first time, and before anyone else can draw, boom. And I think it's like a coyote or a dog of some sort.
Yeah, and then you hear whimpering in the distance. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was. And there's scenes like that, even with the wrestlers. I can't say I blame him for shooting those two guys and wanting to move camp. He's not my favorite character, but there's bits about him I do understand.
Like wanting a cigar before he died.
He's smoking the wrong type of cigar, but sure, I can appreciate that. Your cigar should be as dark as your coffee. Oh God. I don't know. His wife was kind of hot though.
Yes, that was. Yes.
Yeah, that whole scene was actually kind of sweet, the choice of words and etc. It didn't need to be there, but I think, to show how much, they were, still in love and, kind of in the honeymoon phase, I guess you'd call it.
Well,
absolutely no problem with it.
And I like how she was cheering him out for going on top of the ladder and, falling off. And that's the whole reason he can't go out there with his men. That's the whole reason he's stuck at home because he has a broken leg, And it's.
There's a lot of good stuff about this. There was a lot of good stuff. All right. Okay. Okay. Oh God, here we go.
Okay.
We're only 23 minutes in.
I know. There's so much about this movie, and it's not a bad thing. I'm just trying to word out the questions. Okay. Did we like the bad guys? Did we?
Which ones? There were several.
I'm trying to find the right wordage. Do we like the way that they use different variations of the bad guys? Of course, we got the troglodytes, and then we had the rustlers, then we had the two highwaymen. Highwaymen.
So how do I want to put this? Is from my view on this, is the rustlers were they were just trying to rustle. Yeah, okay, that's fine. You kind of go through is that they're not trying to kill anyone if they don't have to. They just want the horses. That's one thing. The two at the beginning with Buddy and I forget what Purvis, you're just like, man, that told me everything of how this movie was going to go. That very beginning scene, you're just like, wow. And I will say this much: the troglodytes were pretty scary for a lot of this stuff. Is when you look at it, they were, they were not incompetent. They followed people around. There were a couple times I kind of went, well, with this, but I'll let slide.
They were monsters. They literally were inhuman monsters.
Well, they were, but everyone knew that they were inhuman monsters, from the Indians to the, they're just like, you trespassed in their land. And I like what the professor said. You won't be coming back. I thought that was pretty well done for it. But that's true. That was part of it, is they were. But yeah, for the bad guys, I think that the way that they portrayed the bad guys for each of the groups that they met were well done. It didn't feel like they were just necessarily dumb or anything else. And in some cases, you weren't sure, like for the rustlers, like, why did you shoot him? That shouldn't have been there, you know? Yeah. And then they come back and stab, what is his name? John or whatever. Yeah, they stab him while he's trying to sleep. Yeah. So, and then that's where they lose their horses. It wasn't like they were trying to kill him. They were just trying to get the horses, more or less.
Well, maybe a little revenge for their dead, comrades. But I mean, everybody, all the bad guys got what they deserved, more or less.
Well, for the rustlers, you aren't sure. You aren't sure if they just were coming back for revenge or if they were out there beginning. Yeah.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'll wait till my turn. Mark, what did you think of the use of the different variations of bad guys that we had in this movie?
I thought they succeeded in its goal, and I thought the monster, troglodyte monster, whatever they had in there I thought that was pretty different with the implants they had in their throats to make those noises and that whistling and everything was kind of clever. I thought I liked it. That was a good monster.
The boar, the
pretty
guy that had
horrific.
All right, the two in the very beginning deserve to die. Anybody named, was it Purvis
and Buddy
should just be taken out and fucking shot. Their family, he got screwed from the get-go with the name. Nobody in Hollywood, character-wise, with that kind of name is a good person.
Buddy, oh come on, Buddy.
Not Buddy, the other one.
Oh, Purvis, yeah.
Purvis.
Yeah, but Buddy was clearly, a more seasoned veteran, therefore more despicable.
Right. Well, the guy who played the older guy, he died in 2019, and he was a main attraction in a lot of Rob Zombie movies. House of 1,000 Corpses or whatever the name. My brother was really into those movies, and unfortunately, I had to watch him with him. So I've seen that guy before, and he always plays a fairly scummy, greasy character.
He's been around for years. He's like a character actor, but he's a good actor, but like he always fits his part and he plays his part well. He's a good actor, but he's that guy, but he does it good.
I don't know what that says about him. Like you said, he passed away in 2019. So the rustlers are rustlers. Depending on your point of view of it, it's horse wrestling or cow wrestling. You're taking somebody's livelihood away from them. I don't have a problem with them being shot.
No, but I was saying at the very beginning, where they first meet him. It's like, my God, you shot them without any. They weren't even trying to do anything. They just showed up, and you're like.
And he was right, but that's the thing. John must have had enough experience with that type of scenario just to know, and he was right.
I'm going to say this much: I don't think John cared one way or the other. To be fair,
I kind of agree with that too.
Is his view was like, well, if I'm only 50% right, that's okay by me.
The troglodytes. Here's my viewpoint on troglodytes. If the two originally did not come across their holy site or their graveyard and do what they did, I don't think they would have ever went into the town because I have a feeling they originally just went into the town to grab him, and the sheriff was like, no, you can't take that. They don't show it, but this is back in my head. This is what I'm seeing. No, you can't take him. Screw this. We're going to grab him, and hey, if we don't eat her, we can have another, set of kids out of her.
Yep. Well, they did that, and then, they killed the slave boy in the stable.
But the whole reason why they went to that town was just to grab that guy. It wasn't they're off wandering around looking for new prey. They had a mission.
Yeah, you know what? Screw them. You know what? What? So I accidentally step on your rock garden. I deserve to be hunted down and murdered.
I'm not saying they were the good guys in this one, but they were not as bad as the first two.
Oh no, they were worse. They were worse. Look what they did to the women. Did you notice what they had done to their own women to make
I'm
sure that
not
they could?
saying that they're the heroes. I am just saying they are the they
How,
are.
how do I want to put? I'm going to go with Cuddle on this, which is they kind of stayed to themselves until you trespassed on their land, and then they came after them, and they didn't really care. I mean, but they had a bad reputation
For them,
among.
that was like Christmas to them. You know, oh, cool, we get to go do some stuff instead of just waiting for our next meal. Those were monsters who delighted in torture.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm saying, but the whole point was that they generally didn't leave their. They would have never entered the town if they weren't chasing Purvis.
Yeah,
I mean,
they weren't
there's
chasing
a
Buddy.
point where look, the monsters will stay in that area as long as you don't as long as you don't disturb them, they don't come out. It's the same thing as it's.
It's should they be put down? Yes, but am I regarding them no better than a junkyard dog? Kinda.
I'm sort of right. Anyway, that was the kind of thing like you just don't. It's kind of like the hornet's nest. If you find it, you'll kill it, but don't start bringing out your axe and smacking it and wondering what happens.
I mean, yeah. Other Native American tribes were like, no, we don't, we just let them be. So if you could take out any part of this, oh man, this movie's gonna give me nightmares. I saw it. I went in and watched it this morning before I did the show because I thought, it's a 2-hour movie. I'd watch it and I'll have like great questions. And every time I think about it, I just have like flashbacks of certain scenes, which probably makes it a good movie. I don't know. Was there any scenes in this movie that you just wish they did not have in it, or you would have removed if you were the one directing it? Omanow?
You know what? I'm going to bring this back up. We can talk about the beginning sex scene a little bit, and that's about it. but there are scenes that turn my stomach.
There you go. That's my favorite part of the movie.
But I'm going to say this much: is it was well shot. It was tightly written. I think that in some ways, it's kind of like, well, that's a little bit much. I'm going to say it's necessary in there, but holy crap. There's some things that like when he takes the bone whistle out of the guy's neck, you're just like, whoa. I mean, I think that disturbed me more than when they cut the guy in half. And,
really? No, it was definitely the splitting for me.
Oh, no. It's when he has to blow through the whistle. I'm just
I get that, but they were actually, getting that from the Aztec death whistle, that made that kind of a noise and it was so terrifying, etc. I thought it was kind of clever, but at the same time, incredibly unbelievable.
But my whole thing on that is, I really wouldn't have taken anything out because I think that it doesn't detract from the movie. Like sometimes there's a scene in there, you're like, what is this even doing in here? It slows the movie down, it kills the pace. I didn't have a feeling about any of the scenes in there. There are scenes that I'm going, yeah, that's a bit intense. You want to turn away, and I think that's intentional as well. But I can't say that there's anything I would say, yeah, this needs to be cut. It doesn't. It slows. It's bad pacing. I can't do that for. Sometimes directors just seem to leave a scene in for some reason it doesn't do anything for the movie. I can't say that for this one.
All right. What about you, Mark?
I really can't. I'm probably in agreement with Omen. Probably nothing really I'd cut out. Like when I was watching, I was like, man, this is a really slow burn in the middle. But then we kept getting more character development from that time. So we used that time, and like I said, I think that a lot of that was done because it was done for such a low budget. But he used that time to develop his characters, and it was part of the whole story and why it took so long for them. So, and yeah, I think it was like it started out with a bang, and then it went real slow, and then at the end it was like, man, it was like it was on then. So I can't think of anything I'd really cut out of it.
Shadow?
Despite the gore and what have you, I really can't think of much that I would, change. Just it's going to be a good long time before I watch this movie. Hopefully, I'll live another 20 plus years and have forgotten about the movie and then watch it again. Otherwise, I'm good for the next decade.
There's parts in this movie that made me just cringe and turn away. Him taking the hammer to that guy's leg to reset the bone. There's not much I'd remove from this movie. Maybe the extra 30 seconds of the whining coyote dog. I don't like listening to animals in pain. I don't care for that. That's not, to me, that's just something that's not needed. But as a whole, there's not much I take out of this movie except for the whining animal. I just, like I said, I don't.
But that was for like 3 seconds, and I think it was important because it shows they didn't, like you said,
done a bam or then thud, and you get the same point. But
no, because if it was a thud, you would not have known if it was an animal or a person. The point is that, and for me, for a coyote, it was like, okay, we're keeping them away, and I think that was important because that was first. And then when they had the rustlers come in, that was the second part in there. So you kind of said it sets them up for that.
Like I said, I just don't like listening to animals in pain.
Or the horse, John's horse. That was pretty sad.
Yeah.
That it proved, how good a horse that was, and that actually, led to John's character. He knew there was no way his horse was gonna leave him, and he was right because the horse paid the price for being loyal. But at the same time, that shows you, what in order to instill that kind of loyalty in an animal, you have to treat it really well. And despite his, character, he clearly was able to do that and instill that kind of loyalty in a horse. That's not an easy feat.
Horses aren't loyal. They're just it just didn't trust anyone else for the most part. Have you dealt with horses? Well, see, the problem is people think horses are like dogs. They're nothing like dogs. Horses don't.
No, but
yeah.
But still, they had probably spent many a week, out in the wilderness, just the two of them, and it knew it could trust him.
Yeah.
To the point where it wasn't going to go with these strangers.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, there's that, and they shot it. I think that it was. I did like the fact that it took several days to get there, so it did give the feeling that this is, like sometimes you go through it and it seems like they just jump long distances. This one did not feel that way. It definitely felt like this was a long trek for them to get out there. This was a real.
Oh yeah, that was my question was. If it took them that long to get out there, minus them losing the horses, I know losing the horses and going on foot was going to add more time. But even on foot, it felt like they made a decent track of it. Even Mr. Gimpy, he went until he couldn't go anymore. How was
they clearly, sped some, did some fast traveling, so to speak. Otherwise, those self-same, troglodytes would have, been probably pretty tempted to go into town more often.
My question is how were the natives? I don't even want to use Native Americans when I'm talking about those. How did those creatures, because they're not the humanoid aspect, the human, I'm not going to give it consideration. How are they able to get back to their cave as fast as they did compared to the rescue party? It took them. The guy said it was a 5-day trek, and they were going to try to make it in 3.
Well, and you have to remember,
all they needed was a day head start, and that's what they got.
Yeah, they got a day's head start. Well, the other part is they also knew the terrain, which the other guys didn't, so they're following. and then and they were traveling pretty light for that asteroid. They may have not even slept for the most part. They may have only gotten 2 or 3 hours of sleep. And if you're on foot, what was it? The Zulus could travel 50 miles a day or something like that. I mean,
yeah, something like, and that might be, that might be. If you know the area, you could probably, using that argument, if you know the area, you could probably move a whole lot faster than if you don't.
Well, and the real question is how you can move prisoners that quickly. But like Sarah said, is you're getting a day ahead. You got several hours ahead, and they know where they're going. I'm just surprised, oddly enough, is that they didn't bring the professor with them.
The professor wanted nothing to do with it.
He didn't want to. Yeah, he wanted nothing to.
No. But I meant it's the kind of thing of like, well, you know where they are. At least show us where they are, rather than like, well, here's an area on the map, kind of where they are.
I like to change my answer on my favorite character. Now I think about, my favorite character was the mayor's wife.
Oh, what was?
Yeah, she was the one really running the town. The mayor was totally incompetent. You're right.
How dare you not tell the mayor what happened? And Russell Crowe's character is like, shouldn't you be talking to the mayor? And without missing a beat, he continued to just keep talking to her. Oh my God. This movie, in my opinion, as rough as this movie was, it did allow somewhat of levity in certain parts of it. Because there was definitely certain parts I laughed. The guy playing the piano, when he was talking to John's character about the prices of the song, he flips his card around, says shot of whiskey to get this started. I thought that was brilliant. And if you didn't recognize him, that was the asshole principal from Back to the Future movies.
Okay.
Don't forget the flea circus. That was pretty funny.
The flea circus.
Because I was actually thinking about a flea circus just like yesterday or the day before, because that was kind of a thing back then, it was just something I wanted to talk to my son about, with, the human, psychology, and what people will believe. And then, it got mentioned in this movie, and, everybody knew that it was a scam, but they still, wanted the deputy to, at least have that, before they, split him in half and ate him.
Oh man.
The splitting this half. I am like not trying to watch that scene, but watch that scene. And is there I've broken down animals before because of my job, and I'm looking at what they're doing, and the rational part of my brain who knows how to break down a pig, because a pig's organs and the human organs we're basically built the same in a lot of different ways. We're built the same, and the way they did it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna go puke now.
No, okay. I don't know. I kind of looked at it. I'm used to quartering and stuff, and I went, doesn't it seem like they're wasting a lot of organs by just cutting them right down the middle instead of taking bits piece by piece out? Anyway, I don't want to dwell.
I think it was more of an intimidation and punishment tactic, to let the new arrivals understand, that there is no escape, and watch how much they scream and cry, because apparently those monsters enjoyed that just as much as the eating part. I do have one question though. The movie's title. Am I to infer that it was Kurt Russell beheading the leader of them with his own weapon? Is that what it was all about?
Bone Tomahawk? The bone tomahawks were the weapons that those things use. They use the jawbone of horses as a tomahawk. Therefore, it's a bone tomahawk.
But I mean, the big scene was when Kurt Russell, did the chief in with his own weapon. Is that what you got from it?
No, I got it actually when they cut off Kurt Russell's fingers. And then when he cuts off the foot, I just looked at it as this much as you're trying to look for something in there. I said, okay, they're using bone weapons. And I said, well, if you can use bone weapons, then what kind of weapon more represents the troglodytes than a tomahawk? That's the kind of the way I took it. But
I want to know if the writer or director of this movie spent some time at a D&D table.
Probably. I mean, come on.
Probably.
Because it felt like a camp. All right, look at the crew that you got. You got the paladin, which was the sheriff. You got the reluctant hero, which was the guy with the crippled leg, who might as well be the fucking dirt farmer, as Kai would put it. You got the fighter, who was the man in white, and you got I don't even know where to put the old man at.
Well, you got a healer, which is fine. You got 2 fighters, which are fine, and you got. I don't know. To me, I don't like saying. Everyone looks at that stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't think necessarily D&D. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I saw John as more the ranger.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
Yeah. I don't even compare it to D&D.
Not necessarily a good ranger, but a ranger. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Take D&D, Pathfinder, all the all the big 500-pound gorilla RPG games out there. I don't know about Strangeland. I don't know about Boot Hill. There's other ones out there I don't know about. But this felt like very much like a campaign setting.
Oh, I agree with you on that. But you had your gunslingers. You had 2 of those. You had your medic. You had a couple, but technically you had 2 of those. Then you had some guy who's coming along who really was a detriment when you look at. I mean, yeah, he pulled himself through at the end, but the husband, you're like, dude, you got a broken leg. We're gonna be traveling for this many days, and they kept on talking about, and they did leave him behind. I mean, they said his bone and then left him. I thought that was kind of interesting. And he kept on going.
Right, but he was a designated hero.
Yeah. Well,
he was the Frodo. He shouldn't have been there, but there was no way he was not going to go and try to rescue his wife, come hell or high water. And in the end, he did, the Bilbo or the Frodo thing. I mean, how do you really want me to believe with a broken leg he pulled his ass up that rope into the freaking Sleestack cave? Sorry, that was like, you got to be kidding me. You know what I mean?
Oh, I can see you doing it, but man, that hurts. That would hurt so
right.
much.
Therefore, he was the designated hero who had to come in and save the day when everybody else had kind of, not screwed up, but just failed at their attempt. They got pretty far, but it took the hero to come in and save the day when all seemed lost. Because I'm telling you, I was like, this is when Kurt Russell and the deputy fell, I'm like, oh well, this is over. What's how is there 45 minutes left of this movie when the main characters are smoking rubble basically. Oh, Arthur's gonna wake up and save the day. I'm just like, yeah, wow.
Well, and Arthur was
I'll roll with it.
Yeah, but Arthur was a full day behind also. And to be fair, Arthur would not have made it if they hadn't removed a lot of those numbers at the beginning part. I mean, that's, when you start looking at it I have to admit the deputy actually did pretty well, which surprised me. But the tincture where they took out basically, what was it, 2.5 of them?
Yeah.
The morphine came into it. I thought that was interesting. And the only reason that they had it was because they had taken it off of Arthur. If they hadn't taken it off of Arthur, that was going to be about it. And then, to be fair, there weren't that many enemies. There were a total of 13 or so?
Well, there were 12 of them. They killed a few in the beginning. Then they killed the next 3. Well, at least one of them, and highly drugged one of them. I mean, yeah, it was a numbers game, and they were able to finally whittle them down.
And then there were 3 at the very end, which is where Kurt Russell, who couldn't couldn't go anymore. He's like, okay, I'm done. And
that guy fucking cutting him open and shoving that whiskey flask in him.
Oh yeah.
My goodness.
That's
Oh,
pretty brutal.
there's supposed to be congratulations, Mark. I want to say you probably have given me the most memoristic film I've seen, will remember for a while now.
Hey,
And I'm not bitching. I mean, freaking
no,
lations.
no, just don't encourage me to recommend the audition.
Oh my god. Okay,
You'll never be the same.
as you guys know, I'm colorblind, and they're splitting that guy in half, and my ADD brain is like, why is there a dark mark on that guy's ass as they're cutting him, splitting him open? I'm like, oh, he shit himself. Really? That's what you're thinking about as the scene here, real quickly? Oh, what is that? Dark dirt on his ass? I don't know how the rest of you guys were thinking during that scene. I can imagine what Jack puked.
No, he
I thought he
was
said
quiet.
he puked. He walked
No,
in.
no,
He
he
saw
did.
me.
No, he did not literally puke, but he wanted to. He's a tough kid. He just, he would have been more
man.
offended by the sex scene in the beginning.
I don't know. According to they're both Catholic. He said we should be doing this the right way, and they're married. So I mean, as far as
I tried to explain that to him, but it's like it shouldn't be on TV.
I don't know what to say. Mine's a little bit different, just because.
Is there anything you guys would have added to this movie? I mean, I don't know what it would fucking be. I think I know what I've added to this movie. The rest of the fucking town going along with them. 269 people.
I was gonna say the Ninth Cavalry.
Yeah. The village had the population of 269 people. Don't ask me why I remember that, but it just kind of stuck out to me. Out of a population of that number, there had to be some other guys that were willing to go do the right thing. Why did it leave it to a cripple? I'm not saying he's permanently crippled, but a cripple, the town sheriff, the guy who should have retired at least 10 years ago, definitely at that time and period, and a gunsman. That's our heroes. Out of 269, only 4 freaking people went.
Well, can you blame them? You still have a wife. Yeah. Well, no. You're thinking like, well, what are there? Well, first off, you got a couple of things. One is you still have to stay with your family. If the town's been attacked, hey, let's go leave the town completely vulnerable while we go chase after someone's wife. I mean, that it's easy to say, but let's be honest. Is if you're looking at it, they got 4% of the population. Was it 4? It was 2%. They got 2% of the population to go out when most people only have 0.5% for the police. I mean, come on. That's what's up.
How many westerns have we seen where there's a mob?
Okay, again, you're talking about movies versus this was more gritty realism for there.
I'm saying there should have been a 5th or 6th person. I mean, even Lord of the Rings had fucking 9 of them in the very beginning.
Well, they had 9, but out of how many hundreds of thousands?
The elves were like, "No, I quit." The elves could have been the professor. No, dude, we're good. I'm sticking this one out.
You got. How many did you get? You got 1 elf out of all the elves. You got what? 4. I mean, come on. You got Aragorn, which is going to go anyway. You got anyway, but no, it doesn't surprise me because half of those are going to be women. So you knock those off. How many of them are going to be kids? You probably got like 4 or 5. You probably have another 30 or 40 kids in there.
I mean, numbers wise, I get it, but it was like the guy who lost his horse. He seemed like he was a strapping male. He should have went.
It's real easy to go up there and it's like, well, how many are actually going to go out there? The other thing is like, by the way, we want you to go to 100 miles or 150 miles inland to go get someone's wife. You're like, look, people die all the time, for the Comanche and things. It's like, well, let's stay at home and defend ourselves.
Actually, I think the wife had the right of it. It's what makes the West so hard. It's not the terrain. It's not the starving. It's not the Indians. It's stupid people like you.
Well, it's not his fault he fell off the ladder. If he hadn't fallen off the ladder, he would have been much better off.
If he did fall off the ladder, he wouldn't have been there.
No, he would still been there.
No, he
Well,
would have
no,
been
he
out.
might. Things would have went sideways bad for him if he would have been there right at the beginning
Yeah,
too. That
yeah.
I think that's what he's trying to say. So
No, if he didn't fall off if you heard him, if he didn't fall off the roof because he was bitching to his wife about it, he didn't fall off his roof. He would have been with the
oh yeah,
the cattle. They're
Yeah,
moving the cattle.
cattle drive, whatever he did.
Cattle drive. Therefore,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have been in town. Therefore, she would have disappeared by the time he got back. She would have been either impregnated, blind, or dead,
Yeah.
or all three.
Well, the interesting thing is they ate Purvis pretty quickly. Purvis was already gone, and they said, "Oh yeah, he admitted to doing all this stuff." So, yeah, it's like, well, Purvis got what he deserved, 100%.
Yep.
So this was definitely the Western movie to end the Western movie month.
Yeah, there was no. This is if you want the gritty Western. I mean, I'll be honest, is I like the fight scenes. I did. When they're shooting and the arrows are not hitting exactly perfect. When they hit it in the arm and they reacted like someone that's been shot in the arm, kind of thing with an arrow. It's like, yeah. I mean, yeah, the adrenaline's getting in you, but it's it's not instant death. Like, oh look, they hit you in the side. You're instantly dead. And
him missing.
It was how the D&D movie should have been. People taking a little bit of damage here and there. Getting whittled down. Not just going through the whole cowboy movie without a scratch.
I love the scene where he's stoned. He's drinking that morphine spiked whiskey, and he's like, I gotta rest. He doesn't say anything, but he lays down. He's like, I gotta sleep some of the stuff, only to be waken up by those two troglodytes, and he shoots one plain as day, just shoots him. Then the second one, bam, shit, I missed. Bam, shit, I missed. Bam, I broke the guy's arrow. He's still standing up. Shit, yeah. Bam. I don't know why, but I love that scene. I just, that was probably one of my favorite scenes in this movie. What was your guys' favorite? Did I ever ask you what you guys' favorite scenes were?
I don't
think so.
I stated mine, but I'll
Yeah,
state
I
it again.
know. Yeah.
No. We all mentioned our favorite scenes, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. This movie, oh man, this movie.
This
I hate to say this, but I might have to watch it again.
was no Cocaine Bear, I think is the way that you're trying to say.
Yes. Well, no, and somewhat it was Cocaine Bear because everything you need to know about the movie was in the title.
Well, the difference is you knew what Cocaine Bear was. When you go for Bone Tomahawk, you're not sure about, unless you read it, that's about a bunch of cannibals that have kidnapped members of the town.
To be fair, there's a lot of recorded cannibalism before we got to this country.
There's recorded cannibalism on the first settlers in this country, and I mean the England.
My stepchildren are related to the Donner Party. I trust me, I get it.
No. Go look what it was. Jamestown.
Never
They recorded cannibalism too. Jamestown had cannibalism, but it was survival cannibalism, which is a little bit different than this.
Shadow, it's amazing to go having dinner with that side of the family, especially at a restaurant. I pray it's always a steak restaurant. So when they yell Donner party of whatever, I'm just giggling my ass off. I'm an asshole. I get it. Early the colonies. God only knows what happened to Roanoke. You know what I kind of wanted? Honestly, I wanted those troglodytes to be white people.
Why?
I don't know. I just wanted it not. I just wanted them when they're dealing with it. One of them realize, fuck.
Just when the show's over, go find a Descent or The Descent, and you'll get it out of your system, and you'll be fine.
Actually, I'm going to bring something because I remember listening to one of them. I can't remember if it was in Australia or if it was in the United States. There was a couple that used to do that, And what they would do is they allow people over there, and they'd be eating dinner, and apparently they had half of the basically this, they got travelers out there. People would end up missing, and because there were travelers going from one place to another, no one really noticed.
Australia. I read the story here recently.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but
yeah, because it was. Oh man, they kind of showcased it in the Denzel Washington movie, The Book of Eli. Oh yeah, man, cannibalism and cowboy movies. Go freaking figure. Was any part of this movie surprising? Did any part of this movie surprise
there's
you?
a cannibal restaurant in Los Angeles, so don't be surprised.
The city of Los Angeles has a cannibal restaurant. That makes sense.
Yep.
Was there any part of this movie that surprised you that you just wasn't expecting? I'll start with you, Mark.
Yeah, how everything, I mean, those creatures and what they were and how everything went down, and I mean, they just, I don't know, they just they made no noise and they were just there like out of nowhere. So yeah, that surprised me. How vicious they were.
Omanau?
I'm sorry, what was the question again? So I was looking at.
Was there any part of this movie that actually surprised you? Like, oh shit, did not see that coming.
I know this sounds kind of weird. Was I didn't know what to expect from the movie. So I think part of it is when they shot the two wrestlers at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Or in the middle. He just went over and bam. You're like, what? You know, they were just talking. And they're like, okay, we'll put your guns down, do this. And, you know, he's just like, you know what? Well, you don't know. Like, I don't really care. I'm not messing with it. They shouldn't be out here. Yeah, I don't know. There's, I think there was that aspect. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest, because I watched it. I didn't read anything about it. I said, oh, let me go look up what's Bone Tomahawk. And I'm like, all right. And I see that, you know, the very beginning scene with, they're standing there and they're talking and, you know, they're having sex. Like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then, you kind of knew where the film was immediately at the very beginning when they're pulling like teeth and stuff and don't burn the Bible. You're like, oh, where is this going to go? I mean, I had no clue where this was going to go. Then they walk into the sacred ground, and one of them ends up dead. And they're like, oh, okay. So I had no clue for any of this. I didn't figure out really where this was going to go until probably about 30 minutes into it, when they actually said, okay, we're going to go over and find these troglodytes and who they are. And okay, so, all right, let's go. And yeah, it was, which actually was kind of refreshing, because a lot of times you know what's going on. This one was, oh, okay, you're here for the ride. Buckle up.
You, Shadow?
Surprises, yeah. There were several, but the big one was the splitting. I mean, they could have done a whole lot of different, just as gruesome ways to, start cooking that guy. But that was just, the whole crotch shots, and everything. I'm just like, really? I mean, let's face it, had it not been for some of that kind of, gratuitous violence, this movie would have been, a lot less memorable. It would have just been, a more or less traditional run-of-the-mill kind of, Western.
I'm not even going to say, I didn't view it as gratuitous in my view. It was definitely
not gratuitous, but over the top.
Yeah, it was definitely gory.
They could have chopped his head off. No, they had to strip him down, and all that, for the audience, and then whatever it was they were doing to his crotchular area, and then start splitting him.
I thought
that's
they broke the
something
pelvis.
You don't see every day in a movie.
No, I think it's intentional. It's supposed to make you revolted.
They broke They broke the pelvic bone and they just split. That's what they did. And damn. Honestly, what surprised me, which is going to sound dumb, but hear me out. With all the other shit that happened in this movie, the moment that got me, was when he comes out of his drunken haze and looks down. He's like, "Oh fuck, my leg is still there."
Oh,
I thought they were going to cut it off. I honestly, because they're walking away. The sheriff asks the deputy, "Think he's make it?" And he's like, "He's got a chance." I'm not banking on it. Kind of thought processing I felt, but he wakes up, no Bob, blah, 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 drool running down his lip, and he looks over and he's like, "Fuck me, I still got my leg." Kind of smile on his face. That surprised me.
well, definitely when they're knocking it out, I thought that, to be fair, is I think that they thought that they would come back and get him on the way back, but kind of thing. It's like, well, good luck. But
they left him stoned and defenseless out in the wild with coyotes, with all the things in nature, and with pissed off Mexican rustlers.
Well,
the wildlife could have taken his leg. They would have smelled that blood and come running.
I'm going to say this much, and people probably won't like this. There was a time that they used to let the flies get on there to eat out the gangrenous.
Oh, the maggots stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't that unusual for some of that.
They still do it in some places in the world.
Oh well, it's so used in hospitals.
Yeah.
It's there, but that was part of it. Is I don't, for you, what was it you were talking about before the show started about the hammer and using the guy's leg. I was like, oh man, it's the other part is, I'm going to say this much: how many do you think that he kept his leg post movie?
I
would agree with Mark when I saw Mark shake his head. I don't think post movie. I think his leg was taken.
Maybe. It's really. I mean, they shouldn't have made it to begin with that far, So maybe they were trying to end on a, almost happy note,
I would kiss you, but you had that disgusting thing in your mouth. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get some water. Wipe it off my face and then give you a kiss.
Oh.
Bam, bam, bam. Oh, I guess I'll no longer need this rock. I mean, for a happy ending for a fucked up movie, I guess that works.
Yeah, but I'm saying, post movie is, I think that he lost his leg. That's what I said. Not the stuff that we see, but I'm saying, after.
I honestly don't think it would matter. She there ain't no way she's going to leave him because he lost his leg. He's going to come back a big damn hero who lost his leg, Well,
she was the daughter of the doctor.
He'll be able to buy his cowboy boots half off.
Well, he's going to.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
Hey, that was no worse than anyone that's watched We Were Soldiers. And he talked about how his two grandfathers met.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, but for her, she was already set. She was the doctor's daughter. She knew and how to do the medicine. She was, I mean, he would just hobble around. That's not his. I had a friend that lost a leg, and he hobbled around just fine. So,
well, he mildly took care of it. Then the field medic took care of it. Then she was there to help take care of it on the way back. I'm leaning to yes, he lost it, but to a certain degree, at the same time, I'm thinking, I don't know.
I think he survived. I just think.
The fact that he was able to make it all the way up there, do what he did, and then come, at the end of the movie, another, halfway home, so to speak. And still, not all, jacked up from infection and stuff. I'm going to give it to him, Otherwise, they'd be carrying him home at that last scene.
He was stoned off of his ass on medicine as well.
No, I think that would have probably worn off. When he woke up, and the adrenaline and all that crap.
He was still drinking on it when he was traveling to get there.
Yeah, but he did run out of
Yeah,
everything.
I'm just saying he was kind of stoned. And I'm sorry, but if I kill somebody or something that had some kind of weird thing in its neck, I don't think I would be like, ooh, I wonder what this is. Cut.
Yeah, well, had he not, he wouldn't have been able to lure them to their deaths.
Oh, I know. There's a few scenes in this movie I didn't buy, and that one was actually kind of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Yeah.
And the fact that we're supposed to believe he climbed that rope, and didn't get, spotted or anything like that, and was able to make it up that rope with a broken leg, etc.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to go the back way, I think is what he said. Because he didn't go up the front door. He went up the back way.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. I'm buying that even less. We didn't even know there was a back way. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I want to thank you, Mark, for picking out this movie.
For searing Connell's brain,
Oh, trust me. This is going to be the gift that keeps on giving. I am going to introduce a few other people I know to this movie.
I did notice one thing is it made a profit.
Oh, yeah.
That on home video it made what, $4.5 million? They made it looks like it made about $5 million on a $2 million budget. So
the cast in this movie, Kurt Russell. Everybody, to a certain degree, everybody knows who Kurt Russell is for a couple generations. Patrick Watson, the one who played Arthur, he's been in a shitload of movies. Let's see. Matthew Fox, he was on the TV show Lost, if you remember that TV show.
Mm-hmm. Which character did he play?
In Lost, hold on. He was one of the main characters.
He first blew up big on that Party of Five. What was it? Party of
Five. Yeah, he blew up on Party of Five. He was on Wings, Freshman Dorm, Party of Five, Mad, Lost. He played Jack Shepherd in Lost.
Okay, yeah.
He's been in a few movies.
I remember. Okay, yeah, all right.
We Are Marshals, Speed Racer. God, that movie was a shit movie. It wasn't that bad, I guess.
No, he looked familiar. I just couldn't place him. Now I was like, oh, okay. Now when you mentioned
Richard Jenkins is the one who played the deputy, and he's an old school actor. He's been in a lot of movies.
I've seen him. I just couldn't place him, but yeah.
Is it just me, or did he actually have a scalp of skin missing from his scalp? From his skull.
You got a grazing shot or something from I don't know, something was thrown at him or an arrow or something, but it
looks like it went down to the bone.
Yeah.
It might have, and it just kind of like grazed up, but yeah.
Well, I was surprised. That was one thing that did sorry. That did surprise me is they didn't kill him. When they captured him, they wanted them alive, and I guess they want them alive so they could keep them fresh.
Are you looking? You recognize who the mayor's wife was?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Hold on, Catherine Morris.
No, Sean. Wasn't this Sean Young?
Yeah, Sean Young. She was on Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
She was the love interest in Blade Runner.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
Rachel. Yeah.
She was in Dune. Wasn't she also in Dune?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
She played Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
She was in Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
She was popular in the 80s.
I heard she was real difficult to work with, though, or something. So
she played a great Miss Porter, the mayor's wife. Holy fuck.
Well, her problem was that she drank too much.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, she was a.
When people get famous early, I think it really hurts the. Really hurts.
I'm not going to try to pronounce this guy's name, but the guy who played the professor, I've seen in a bunch of other movies and show. He's a Native American actor. I
Mhm.
like almost everything he's been in. He can act. He can act his ass off.
Well, what's interesting is for this. This is one of those things that are, I guess they made that out of love than anything else.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that David Arquette was Purvis.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. It was like, he was the kind of like the second big star of the movie, and then he turned out to be, a utter scumbag, and out of the movie in, the first scene, no, second scene.
Well, but you don't want to be typecast, and sometimes you have to take these little movies to allow that to happen.
I don't know if you could typecast him. He's done damn near everything and anything. I mean, he was in WCW. He won the belt on that program when that was a thing. I mean, this guy is, and he comes from a well-known family. His sisters all act.
Mm-hmm.
I guess his grandpa was an actor. Cliff. I'm sure he did something. I'm more than positive he did something. I just don't recognize the name. But yeah, no, this movie had a lot of big names to it. I mean, not big names, but
I'm really surprised it only made $5 million.
oh,
To be honest,
trust me.
that's like nothing. That's like,
Well,
it was an indie movie. I don't think this was even ever at the movie theaters. It was just
I think it was one of those art house film movies.
right. Yeah, it was.
And
It
then
was, yeah.
But
Right,
it says
right. Yeah, go ahead.
it says it was shot in 21 days.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I can believe it.
Writer and director are the same guy, so maybe that's why it had maybe that's why it played out the way it did. The right, obviously, if the writer and director are the same person and they're competent to be a director, he's got a vision, and he,
Well,
maybe that's why it worked the way it did.
and he doesn't need to get a writer in there to do all the rewrites. Like, hey, let me rewrite it right on the spot.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
He's a comic book guy. He writes and draws out comic books. This could have been a comic book movie.
So they said the budget is 1.8 million, and apparently grossed like 382,000 at the theaters, but then it made like 4.3 or 4.5 million in home sales.
okay.
So, yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of the people were in here, for 21 days. Boy, as an actor, that's really fast, and you can get in and out, and like, oh, okay, and I can get some acting chops in there and do something I normally wouldn't do.
Yeah, it probably took Kurt Russell longer than that to grow the damn beard.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I think that's his permanent face anymore because I haven't seen him here lately without a beard of some sort on.
Well, the other part is, at least they didn't shoot their film person. Unlike another Western going you through.
Rust, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, come on. It was.
Hey, I'm the one who's supposed to be making offhand jokes like that. Don't steal my stick. But
you didn't watch this Saturday then. Sorry.
It was a good show. It was a good show.
Yeah.
Bruce game didn't let out until like 10. Then I realized I was really freaking hungry, so I ate. Only to catch like the last 5 minutes of the Nathan Allen show. So no, I was busy.
Yeah,
yesterday.
Nathan was wrecked from driving 4 hours up and back for a convention.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd have been spending the night if I was him.
So I know you have to leave here soon, Mark. You have birthday and holiday stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody in chat, happy Memorial's Day, which is tomorrow. I hope you spend it with your family and those people that you love. I'm not ending the show, but I know Mark has things he needs to get to. Next month, we're doing foreign films. I think everybody's basically got theirs picked out. Do you have any foreign film that you want to throw onto the pot as of yet, or you want to think about it?
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I have to look up. I haven't seen this one either, but I've heard about it, and it's supposed to be. It's a French film. Oh, it was something of the night. Hold on, I'll find it one
Yeah.
second.
You sent me the link. I'll have to go double check.
Yeah, let me. I could find. Okay, it says "The Night Eats World," and I put it. I'll put a link in our regular chat, but I think it's streaming free on one of these free streaming services somewhere. But it's a French world, but it's supposed to be a zombie movie, but I heard it's done really differently. So that's what I picked. But I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard, like I said, it's another one I've heard good things about, and it's supposed to be done really different.
So-
Different take on it.
So Jax was what the what was
Battle
Jax again?
Wizard.
What was it called?
The Battle Wizard.
The Battle Wizard. All
Yeah,
right.
which I'm having issues trying to find that one.
Yeah, the double check. I thought it was like the Wizard and the Magician or something. That's what I'm trying to double check.
No, it was the Battle Wizard. Oh,
1977 Hong Kong. Okay.
yeah. You know, I really quick, I want to say we're done basically talking about this movie. I mean, we've hit all the oh my fucking lord, I can't believe I just saw that part of this movie. We beat this dead horse per se. Good movie, not bitching. It's definitely gonna stick with me for a while. I might not be having ribs tonight for dinner. Thank you there, Mark. Or steak. I might go have a nice salad.
He's going for pulled pork.
Oh, I might be having a nice salad tonight for dinner. So what do you got going on? Anything of interest going on right now, Mark?
Nah, I've been working it. I've got several things I've read and whatever. I just got to get online and review them. But I've been working a ton, and I'm in the middle of a move right now, so
Right.
Oh man.
it's kind of been a thing.
So,
Hopefully that goes well for you there, Mark, for the move.
Yeah.
whenever you need to take off, of course, take off. Thank you for picking out this movie, and just wait. That was the cherry on the Western month. I don't think of all the Western movies I've seen this month, this one is going to stick with me the most.
It
This
was
was
something, but
really
yeah.
unique.
Don't color westerns gone. I may be picking a western for my pick. Just because I like you guys too much to make you suffer through the audition. Although, if I change my mind, don't be surprised.
So Connell, what is the one that you're going to pick? Was it Brotherhood of the Wolf or a different one?
So far, I'm going to say it's Brotherhood of the Wolves. Me and you need to talk about the definition of foreign films because I think I'm having a minor hiccup.
The foreign film is just one that's not Anglo. That's probably subtitled.
Is that the definition you're going with?
Yeah, basically, I'm not including anything from like New Zealand or Australia or the UK or the United States or Canada.
Okay.
So something more likely subtitled, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. You might need subtitles with a few Australian films.
Well, that's just because you haven't lived down under. No.
See, with the foreign film, when I took film class in college just for an easy credit, boy, was I wrong. And the definition of a foreign film was a movie that was not made in your native country. So if you like Harry Potter, to Americans is a foreign film because it was filmed with British people in Britain/Scotland/Ireland.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of cool ones out there. Night Watch, like Mark was doing this. I haven't seen Battle Wizard. I'm going with Rand because a lot of people haven't seen that one, but that's you want to do a Japanese samurai film, that's one you probably need to see because that's in its full glory. And unfortunately, Connell, since you're colorblind, you aren't going to see the different colors of all of the, they have like blue and yellow and red.
Oh, animes damn near kill me. I lose so much with them.
But it's interesting. It's we already did the Magnificent Seven. I said doing the Seven Samurai seems kind of a waste. It's a lot of this, but Rand is definitely I think that was one of his last films too. Wherever's the Man in Black who played in Magnificent played in the sequel? Okay.
Yul Brynner?
He played in the sequel to it. And
Yeah.
I haven't yet watched it, but it feels like
One
it's
of
a.
them, not the sequel I watched.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Poor Shadow had to watch every version of the Magnificent Seven that came out.
We were tempted. We were tempted.
Later.
I
Yeah,
see
he
there,
enjoyed
Mark.
it.
Later, Mark. You have a good one.
Have a
All
good
right,
week,
you too.
buddy.
Bye bye.
Yeah, it's so that's but basically I'm just trying to say for foreign film is anything that it can have English in there, but it's not it's one that's not generally made by the big movie studios. It would be made by the Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Right.
P-34 was cool. Night Watch is cool for the Russian. Goodbye Lenin. I know that Shadow's trying to look for something from a quasi spaghetti western.
I mean, technically, Fistful of Dollars is a foreign film by definition. I'm not saying it is, but by definition, it was filmed in Italy by an Italian director. I think the only American in the entire movie was Clint Eastwood.
But it's still English. You can still go through that. Well, no, you also have who was for the Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Angel was.
Yeah, I thought that he was an American.
No, I don't think Angel was American. I could be wrong. It's been forever since I've seen it. But,
well, I mean, technically, Star Wars and Alien would have been filmed too.
Alien, I give you Star Wars. Alien had too many American actors. And
it did, but it was shot in
it was shot in Britain. Yeah, I'm not going to say Aliens is a foreign film because it's not. It mainly had American actors, except for like a Brit or two, one Brit, and the rest of them were American. I will not argue that one. Harry Potter is technically a foreign film because it had no Americans.
It's not. It's any non-Anglo film is what I'm really going for.
Yeah, we're going with any non-Anglo. Once again, I'm not trying to be difficult. I was just wondering on your what definition are you using?
Well, that's what I was trying to say is any non-Anglo film.
Okay. That puts in question Brotherhood of the Wolf.
No, Brotherhood of the Wolf was a French film shot in France. Because believe me, when I was watching it, my God, there was a lot of complaints that it was too. They said, because it did really, really well. And I watched it in the theater actually.
So did I.
And they said that the complaint was what's the point of having French films? They look very similar to the Hollywood films. And I said, well, okay, there is that aspect, but no, it's a foreign film because it was done in French, and
Shadow, you can watch Brotherhood of Wolves on Amazon Prime if you have a subscription to Prime.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, and just to warn you, when Jack watches it, is you just have to cover his eyes up in certain.
There is there is. The scene's not. It's not a long scene, but it's definitely. It's a scene.
It has Monica Bellucci in her full glory. Well, at least in half of her glory. So if nothing else, you'll like that part. No.
Yeah, I think there's only the only Mark. I can't pronounce his name. The one who played Native American in it. He's 59 years old. How old is he? Not how old is he? Where was he born? He was born in Honolulu, so yeah, he's technically American in a way of conquer.
Well, considering that you were born in the United States, yes. Well, so is Bruce Lee, technically. Mel Gibson. They were both born in the United States, so.
God, I used to love that. Anyways. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this next month's worth of movies. Battle Wizards. Battle Wizards is the first one. Brotherhood of the Wolf is second one. Then Omenau, I think you're third?
No, I thought I was after Jack, or am I wrong? I don't know. If I'm wrong.
Jack, me, you, Shadow, Mark.
Okay, that sounds good. Is Bo trying to throw himself in here too?
That's up to Bo. And he's
I didn't see him in the chat.
No, I didn't see him either. I was just wondering. Except, well, I don't know if he was working or sleeping now. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to get Jack to get exposed to all the great foreign films. That the other one that we haven't mentioned, which I still enjoyed, which is kind of slow, was The Seventh Seal.
Yeah, I saw that one. I didn't watch it, but I saw. Oh my god, on Amazon Prime. I know it doesn't, by your definition, does not fit, and it's a TV. It's a mini series, and I would love for you guys to watch it if you haven't already. It's called The Good Omen.
Have I watched
Never
that?
heard
One?
of it.
I think I've watched. It's a comedy with the angel and the devil.
The angel ended up demon, but yeah, Crawley.
Oh,
It's
there-
funnier than hell. It's a Neil Gaiman.
I've watched it already.
Yeah, I fucking think it's brilliant in my
I
opinion.
watched. There's one that I watched on HBO, which I thought interesting. I haven't forgotten, which I'm not sure exactly where it's made, but it's British. But it was The Head.
Headroom, Max Headroom.
No, it's just called The Head.
Head.
It's based off of an expedition in Antarctica, and it becomes into a murder mystery of what happened to everybody.
Oh no, that could be interesting.
But it's a
And
mini
it's not the
series.
Mountains of Madness.
No. It's one you just have to watch to see, but it's well done. The other one
HBO. I'm not a sponsor, nor do I get paid by Max now. But they just upgraded their digital profile for streaming. They have the Discovery Channel and a bunch of other channels now attached to it.
All right.
Traveling. I have no idea why, but I love having access to traveling channel. There's just a lot of good shows I used to watch on it. Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations. There's a bunch of other ones I just used to love.
You mean all the cooking shows? Yeah.
All the cooking shows, yeah.
Now, The Head was one that was pretty good. I'm trying to think of another. There's some. I also liked Half-Life for the first season. Was it Half World? No, maybe it's Half World. That's the Asian. That one's kind of cool. Where they I'm not sure exactly how to. The problem was that each season reboots all the characters, and I was like, okay. So basically, you don't know who's who, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. They don't really interconnect with each other. It's a cool idea. I thought the first season was pretty cool. But yeah, they had that. So there was that one. I'm trying to think. There's what else there was. There's there's some really cool stuff out there that's just not on the mainstream aspect, which is kind of the reason I want to do the foreign films.
No, I'm not complaining. I think it's a good idea. Watching some of these movies, I think watching some of these movies for people that don't have all the streams is going to be a little bit interesting.
Well, I mean, for me, a lot of times, like, okay, I'll buy the film, so I can it's just easier in certain cases.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, it's $9 or whatever. I'll buy the film. We're only watching like 3 or 4, a lot, so it's not a big deal for that. And that's really about as much as it is to go to the movies. So.
Right. Well, I think we've basically bored our chat enough where they've all basically disappeared, except for hopping in and out.
Okay.
Who was in chat today?
Just the only person that said hi was the Crafty Gamer, which he is, good guy. For everybody else who ends up dropping in later, thanks for watching it. Go check out this movie. You just if you got cable, just with one of those remote controls that you could talk into, just say this name of this movie, and if you have a chance to watch it, you're in for a rare treat. Just don't have any barbecue afterwards.
Eat on an empty stomach.
yeah. Maybe have a couple beers next to you. And make sure the kids are out of the room. Holy crap.
Now you tell.
It's definitely an R film. Well,
it's and this is not shade on Mark, but I was not expecting this.
Well, neither was Mark. Mark just heard about it. I talked to.
Yeah.
I was the first person that watched this, and I was telling you guys, it's good, but it's definitely not one that you can sit back and say, yeah, let's go watch a fun movie. Like, no.
I was actually going to watch this before I went to bed last night. I was like, just watch it. And I'm like, no, I'll just, watch in the morning and I'll figure out what kind of questions. And I'm watching it. And in the back of my head, it's like, dude, you need to come up with questions. And I'm like, what? What am I going to ask? What possibly questions am I going to squeeze out of this movie? Did you like the way that they split that guy?
It's definitely one of those that I was like, wow. Well, even when they're doing the fight scenes before they split the guy with the arrows, I was like, wow, this is not. They aren't. Well, it sets the tone at the very beginning. Let's be honest. When they have those those travelers that they're robbing.
Yeah. And
what
even was it? I think they set John off to die like a badass. I'm gonna take out as many as I can. Leave me the sticks of dynamite. I have my rapid load rifle. He gets maybe one. He gets one with the tomahawk in his head.
Yeah. Well, you know what though it didn't feel like it was cheated. I didn't feel cheated like I did during No Country for Old Men, where
I've never seen that movie.
They're building up to the big fight scene, and then one of the characters dies. Yeah, it was like, wait a minute. It was, that was the big anticipation for it, and it was like, well, you want something different. I was like,
Dude, to be completely honest, this movie ended better than the way that I thought it was going to end. Because the moment I saw the guy who played the two people, the moment I saw the older gentleman, the movies he normally is in, no one makes it out alive.
Well, I'm going to say this much. I did not know what to expect when I watched this. That's the big.
Right. I was expecting everybody to die or dying on the way out. I was not expecting the guy to get his wife back and be hobbling along with I should have been home reading a good book, a retired sheriff.
Yes. Well, exactly. And
I mean, nothing against him his age. It's just he wasn't.
Well, his character was not a badass in any way, shape, or form, and yet he still went. It's. It was big. Let's contrast this with the Magnificent Seven. There's just completely different level. But yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm pretty sure majority of the Magnificent Seven would have got ganked by these creatures.
Yeah. Well, the cannibals. Yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying that they. Well, to be fair, most of them would have been pretty fast, but it's the difference of how do I want to put this? If you have how do I want to put this? If you're watching Alien with all the Space Marines, it doesn't have the same effect, and that's similar to how this is. It's
well, even Aliens, they go in there with a troop of Marines, and only one of them makes it out alive and dies on his way back to nowhere.
Yeah, but the whole point was that they went in and they were racking up bodies left and right.
Right.
This was not that kind of film.
In my idea of American West, it was the age of being courageous. It was, the doctor's daughter got kidnapped. Let's get a group together, a group more than just 4 people.
Well, this definitely felt like
Shadows of Brimstone. Believe it or not, the board game that Jackie and I love so much. You have 4 dudes, and so some of the missions are to go into the mines, filled with Cthulhu monsters, etc. If you like this movie and you want to, play a game like it, no other game would personify it better than Shadows of Brimstone. And oftentimes when you excuse me, find the person you're trying to rescue in the mines, there's a card, you draw it, and it's like roll a d6, and there's 3 choices, and like maybe one of them is you find the person still alive. Otherwise, they're in various states of being dead, and that will determine your success on the mission.
I would run this. I had run this movie as a one shot in Pathfinder. I would use troglodytes as actual as they are in Pathfinder. I mean, there's not much I would change to transfer this over to Pathfinder. I mean, this is
And
just
in Shadows of Brimstone, there are a tribe of Indians that are addicted to this dark stone, warp stone, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, they can take your ass out pretty easy. It would, yeah.
what
Clearly,
got me.
I would think that they were more likely to have played Shadows of Brimstone than actually playing D&D when it came to
Oh,
that.
I agree. I believe it was a Western video Western RPG. I'm going with what I know. I
Well, Shadows is really a board game, not a role-playing game.
right.
But there's still some goofing off in character voices when you're playing. So, or at least there kind of should be.
Well, short. Well, that's what Shadows of Normandy, just 80 years before. But yeah, these are. It was definitely a. This is not this. This is a. How do I call it? This is a Southwest gritty horror film set in the Old West.
Yeah, it's. Ooh.
That's.
Yeah, like I said, I have no hurry to watch it again. But it wasn't bad. It's just that for me, I literally need to forget 75% of the movie before I want to come back to it because well then where's the the surprises and the shocks and the all of that. I'm it's going to be a good long time. I'd rather watch something completely brand new before I watch this one again. But I might if it was it's hard. It's not like the old days where oh hey, this movie's coming on TV tonight. Let's watch it. It's like I don't care. That's not a thing anymore. It's do you want to watch this movie based on pretty much having seen it before, or you just bought it. It's there's no reason to pull this one out. I'm glad I only rented it. For me, it's really just a unless I live another 10 or 20 years and want to shock a new friend or someone who hasn't ever seen it. It's like, hey, you want to watch something that will scar you? Cool, I got just the pick.
I just next time Jack gets mouth, they have him sit down and watch this film.
No.
Oh no. I mean, he watched. I mean, he saw from the scene where they were more or less taken prisoner in the cave to the end. He's not gonna watch it for the other stuff. That's just not gonna appeal to him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, but this
to be
thing.
honest, you could have cut a lot of the the beginning. You could have made this an hour movie, and it would have still been as impactful.
I don't know if there's right. I don't. But as I said, we all kind of said earlier. I don't know if there's anything from this movie that really should be cut because you needed to know the relationship
right
between the husband and wife. That's scary. I mean, technically, listening to the sheriff talk to his wife about going, that could be cut out. That could have been cut out because there was nothing really other than this is what I need to do. This is the right thing to do. Conversation he had with his wife, which you kind of got that at the learned goats. I have no choice because I know you're going. Therefore, I have to go. I have no choice.
It's a well-written film.
Yeah.
It's a well-written film. It's tight, even though it's 2 hours and 8 minutes. It's one of those
I
that.
thought it was 2:20.
No, it's like 2 hours and 8 minutes. it's a well written type film where some, but it's kind of a slow burn like we were talking about. But I didn't feel that it was rushed. I didn't feel that it drug. I felt that everything in there had a purpose and allowed the character development. It's a drama. I mean, it's a drama horror film, is what it is.
Even the slow burn wasn't particularly that bad. It was just
it was a lot of talking and a lot of visuals, which but works. But it's not one of those that's you're not going to be at the edge of your seat, and you're not going to be in this roller coaster like a Transformers movie.
I was actually kind of on the edge of my seat toward the end. I'm like, what the heck? This can't end well. The odds are so unbelievable. Because at a certain point I thought Kurt Russell and the deputy were dead. I'm like, oh crap! How's this got another hour left? According to my TV, when I paused it, I'm like, how does this have 45 minutes or whatever it was left? This can't end well. What are the troglodytes then attack the town? There's new characters that are going to come along. John was dead, and the remaining characters just weren't. They didn't have what it would take. To.
Yeah, I kind of.
I mean, we didn't know how many of the troglodytes were there at that moment. For me, it's like, crap. There could be 50. This is not going to end well.
They counted them off when they were inside the. Once they were captured, they counted off how many there were.
Right. She said there were about 12. This was before that moment. I'm like, there's there could be, a lot. The fact that it was only 12, I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. It's going to be, a one by one kind of, picking each other off thing. And
another way they could have ended it was with one group a shootout at the end, and all you hear is bang, 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 boom. Then you see the wife come running or sliding down the hill as there's like 12 deputies from the town over waiting at the bottom of the hill wondering what the hell's going on. And then they pull credits.
No, see, I think that would have taken away a lot from the film. The problem is that this fit very well for a Western, but it didn't use any of the tropes that were usually used in Westerns. The cavalry comes. And we didn't have that feeling at all. It was definitely, yeah. I mean, because I would have felt cheated in certain cases. Like, the cavalry arrives, what the hell? That's,
I would have been fine if they showed up too late. Not save the day, but just too late. Thinking I am somewhat of a dark son of a bitch, so there's that.
Well, but I think that's what makes this interesting. You didn't know if people were going to make it to the end.
You're right.
I mean, this could have gone either way, and it did definitely not have a go. Okay, well, I mean, even like you talked about it, when we had John die, then you had the sheriff hit, and then you had the deputy. I said, man, they're done for, and then they started dragging them. Okay, and so I was like, all right, we'll see what goes on here. But to be fair, if they hadn't done that, I would have probably like, oh, I'm not going to watch this. It was definitely one you said, well, I want to see how this ends, because you didn't know how it was going to end.
That's true. I am. That's kind of all I have to say is, damn. I said I think we beat this one to death about 30 minutes ago. We're back talking about.
I know. Well, we talked about the other one, which we got the Battle Wizard. We then got your Brotherhood of the Wolf. And
then we got Rain. Then we got whatever spaghetti foreign western that Shadow comes up with. Then we got The Night Eats the World. Or The Night Eats, something like that.
And then after that, it's just free for all, whatever the hell we pick. It's just gonna be random.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do pick your guilty pleasure. Pick your guilty pleasures. is going to be the next one.
Well,
Then they'll go,
take a look at the what I sent you a while back and see if anything fits. You know, after
I wanted to do sports. I know I wanted to do sports here soon, but your birthday's in July.
After 2 months of pretty gruesome
Heavy.
movies, we may need a palate cleanser just to
That's why I was thinking,
it's gonna be middle of freaking summer as well.
kind of why I was thinking sports or fucking what's your favorite cartoon movie? I don't know.
Well, see, that's why I was looking at, like Shadow put it, it's guilty pleasure. That way we can pick whatever we have fun with. They won't have to be serious or anything else. It's just, we had some of those, but I'm not trying to pick everything that wins.
So
like
what do you guys mean
Oscar
by guilty pleasure? Like something that's awful, but you like it anyways, kind of thing?
It can be good, but it can still be so like. Not that I'm saying I'm going to pick this, but one of my guilty pleasures is I still love Spaced Invaders.
Oh wow, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, 'cause I'm actually, even though I put it down, if you were to go through my DVD collection, which is really small, there's like nothing that really qualifies like that, other than like Ancient Aliens or Venture Brothers. And Venture Brothers is phenomenal.
We could do an episode of Adventure Brothers.
I think that takes too long. No. What I mean for a movie is, do you have any movies that you enjoy, which you can say they're not the greatest movies, but I love them? That's what part of it.
You have to have at least one or two movies that you like and no one else does.
Well,
Everybody does.
Well, my son and I, we did the Silent Running, Southern Green, and Rollerball, but those are seminal movies. You need to watch those movies if you want to know what's going on in the real world. They're following that playbook, as best they can with more people than they expected back then. But like a movie that is not going to say hated, but not super, famous or beloved. Like when I had Bruce watch Real Men, that's like the closest I could think of. I love that freaking movie. Most people prefer John Belushi over James Belushi, and he died a junkie, and it sucks that his life went that way. But John Belushi did some good stuff. Red Heat was fucking love that movie.
Oh wow, okay, who's in this one? Jim Belushi, John. Oh my God, how have I not seen this movie?
It is a classic dumb movie.
Well, that is a guilty pleasure.
That's a guilty pleasure.
That is a guilty pleasure.
The whole point is not to have anything serious. It was kind of just have a fun.
It's hard to find though. It really is. And Bruce and Janet did it per my request. And Bruce gave it like I think a 7. Janet kind of hated it, except for one scene that she kept going on and on about. But
I can watch it for free. It's on Tubi.
Yeah, I think we have that, but I never used that TV. But Jackie and I just watched it. I don't think we did a review on it, but I know Bruce and Janet did, and it's maybe I'll pick that one just because that's like the only one I can think of other than maybe like Bill and Ted's. Everybody loves that movie. Everybody loves that movie, right?
I don't.
I like the sequel. I like the second one. Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure better than the first one.
The whole thing that comes down to it is it's meant to just be fun without being without one that like you said, there's a palate cleanser instead of doing all the super serious stuff. Like, oh, okay, guys,
sports movies can get serious.
It doesn't matter.
I wouldn't hate sharing that with you guys. Maybe that's what I'll do just to see what you guys think of it. Because it's you can watch that movie. You can literally watch that movie with almost anybody. And
have you guys? Have anyone watched the Blues Brothers?
Yeah.
Bruce and Janet just did a while ago.
Not Bruce and Janet. We don't care about Bruce and Janet. This is Connell for this group.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in decades because I watched it. I'm like, okay, I loved watching them on SNL, and my dad loved it because he was from Chicago, and he loved the Blues Brothers, and it was just like, yeah, it was okay. Carrie Fisher's in it.
I
That's
mean,
literally my favorite part.
guilty pleasure for me is probably I love Ghostbusters.
Well, then use Ghostbusters. It doesn't have to.
I was like kind of waiting for Halloween before pulling that particular trigger.
You could. You could probably. Everyone has multiple guilty pleasures that are, that. I mean, if you really want to do a guilty
right,
pleasure,
but I see when I hear the word guilty, I feel like I should feel bad about loving the movie. Is what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Which indicates, or at least hints that I'm the only one that really wants to watch that particular movie. So
well, the whole point is for the guilty pleasures is you're not saying it's an award-winning film, but it's just one that you have. That's what I'm trying to say is I've been trying to do award-winning film. Haven't I picked let's see, I did all the ones I've picked have won, Best Picture. Okay.
Oh yeah, going back to Casablanca. I mean, fuck. I find myself quoting that movie from time to time now.
I'm doing Casablanca. I did what was the other one with I keep saying Rosebud, but it was the
Citizen Kane.
I did Magnificent Seven. I did Ben-Hur. These are all award-winning, Academy Award-winning films. And okay, let's go for something that's not. And what are some of the fun ones that are out there? It does. I mean, to be fair, Goonies would count as a guilty pleasure.
Goonies are.
Everybody loves that movie.
Oh, it does not.
I literally never saw that movie, but I know everybody loves that movie.
But Shadow, the point is that it's a guilty pleasure because the people from the New Yorker won't like it. But
I don't like a single person from New York. No, that's not true. I like a couple of people.
No. But my point is the snobs. The movie snobs. It's not meant for them. It's not meant for people that.
God, making you guys watch Ninja Turtle, the Ninja Turtle the movie that
Which
came
one?
out. The 85, 89.
That movie's awesome. What are you talking about? That
movie
was awesome.
That's a guilty pleasure one too.
There was a lot of people that shat all over that movie. The second one did pretty good. Then the third one was just crap.
That movie was actually good. I took an ex to see that movie, and she literally cried when you know who died.
But that's my point. Is those are all guilty pleasures. They're not films. UHF is a guilty pleasure.
We're out language.
I mean, come on. It's ones that are not going in there where they're not going to win any Academy Award winning films. I mean, if you look at it, technically, there's a bunch of Mel Brooks stuff that's all in there. Look at how much what were they? How much they hated Blazing Saddles was hated by
Blazing Saddle, Meatballs, not Meatballs, Spaceballs. Meatballs was a whole different movie that had Bill Murray in it. Yeah, which that did not do well either.
Oh, I'll say this much. I know you don't like it, but I still like Spies Like Us.
That was Dan Aykroyd and
there was Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase.
God, I don't mind his earlier movies. Chevy Chase's early movies. I just can't.
I'll be honest. I never really liked Chevy Chase, but I enjoy the other. I enjoy some of the films at the end. But I
don't know. Chevy was actually pretty funny on SNL. It was after SNL that he turned into kind of a douchebag.
Bill Murray and what's his name, who was also in Ghostbuster and Stripes with John Candy, and that's not a good old one.
Private Benjamin.
I'm not a big Goldie Hawn fan.
It doesn't matter whether you're a big fan or not. Was the film fun? It's
I didn't really like it.
It's all right, but fuck.
I mean, technically, Soldier counts as a guilty pleasure.
Kurt Russell, Soldier.
Yes. I'll tell you one that's a guilty pleasure, which was just fun to watch for me was Total Recall.
The new one or the old one?
The new one does not exist. That's just
I'm
a
just
your
asking.
imagination.
Just asking. Just asking.
No, I mean
Yeah,
the old.
I've seen Total Recall a crap ton of times, but I can't stand him anymore. I absolutely hate his guts. I don't want to watch anything with him. Yeah, I can't stand him. When he said, F my freedom, who the hell does he think he is? He wants to get back into political power, then run again. Otherwise, shut your goddamn mouth. And how dare you about that commie shit?
Here's what gets me is it just told you how cowardly these people are. Look at what was his name? Howard Stern. What a coward.
D. Snyder. Yeah. D. Snyder, same thing. And I used to know the band he was in. They they lived. Yeah, Twisted Sister. And I saw him in concert. I loved him. That was the funniest concert I ever went to. JJ French was my neighbor. We hung out. He was a little older than me, but he was a cool guy. Great times with all their music. And then D turned into just the absolute exact opposite of everything he claimed to be all his life. Over what? Fear of the common cold.
Well,
I hope he gets cancer and dies in a dumpster fire.
Well, what's interesting is Dave Mustaine was, when I went to the concert with him, he was so pissed off at the whole lockdown for COVID. I'm like, yeah, there's a guy that actually walks the walk.
Yep.
And the other part I thought was interesting. Boy, you want to talk about people getting attacked? Was I went to go see Eric Clapton later that year. I can't remember if that was last year. Anyway, we went to go see Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton got the vaccine and it caused him neurological problems for him playing. And he said everyone attacked him. You can't say anything bad about the vaccine, even if it hurt you. Like, wait a minute. It's regardless of how you feel about the vaccine, if it hurt you, you should be able to criticize it. That's what gets me. Is
did I miss them rewriting the Constitution? Those people can fuck off.
Well, you know what? They made their fame, and as soon as they became famous, well, look at Neil deGrasse Tyson. I care about science. That man is so anti-scientific when it comes down to COVID. I mean, what I told you is just
dumpster fire as well.
It's just
this is where I am going to end the show.
Okay. Well,
not saying you guys have to stop on the stop station, but we can sure as hell do this outside of the YouTube spectrum. I'm trying to keep a non-too political show for the most part.
I know. Well,
anybody's watching.
I'm just saying political. What gets me is what cowards these people were that claimed all these things. That's what gets me about it is you claim that you have certain morality, and as soon as you get afraid, then you run and hide.
Everybody out there, y'all have a good evening. Go smoke a cigar, drink a beer, hug your kids. Don't eat anybody. That's about it. Y'all see you next week.
All right, have fun.
Double up on don't eat anybody. That's just no. Hey, maybe we should do Hannibal Lecter for my guilty pleasure. Silence of the Lamb.